Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I have a bunch of seeds I want to start today before it's too late. And these are all plants that are beneficial to bees. And now if you can notice here, this is where I had my citrus. So I've got the grow light still hanging, so I'll start some plants here. I have a couple of those smaller individual heat mats I think I'll use, and then I might be able to free up a space in the lean-to where I started some Oregon snow peas, but they're over a year old, I think, and the germination rate is kind of low, so I can free up an area. And some of the seeds I just might sow on some bare spots I have outside. But I wanted to show you the seeds. These here are the seeds that I collected last year from the plants I bought at a local nursery. They're mostly echinacea, varieties of echinacea. And you can see here some of the prices. So, you know, a couple of dollars for a seed packet, or $4, I think, max for a seed packet. Let's see, this is geranium, Roseanne, Veronica, Sunny Border Blue. I think that one died. Echinacea Flamethrower, Echinacea Powwow, Stokesea, Peaches Pick. What else we got? Echinacea Flamethrower, another flamethrower. And I forgot about these. That's why I want to hurry up and get these into the seed starter mix. Hyssop. Bees love these. Hyssop, I think, well, it says it's a perennial. So that's a perennial. There's an annual. Borage. Bees like that. Catnip. Perennial. Another Echinacea. Hybrida. Echinacea X is an annual. Oh, this one's an annual. I think I bought that by accident. This is old. I never got it into, let's see, 2009. But Cardinal flower, I think hummingbirds like that. That's why I purchased that one. Let's see, Liatris. And this Johnny Seeds Bee Mix from last year. Another packet of Hyssop. Got some more here that I ordered from off of eBay. So after doing some additional research on the internet, this is always a good one for late in the season. Goldenrod, Showy, and let's see, here's another one. Purple Prairie Clover. This is good for the spring. Snowdrops. You've seen the purple ones out there. These are white snowdrops. And I'll get to that one in a second. This here, wild blue daisy aster, perennial. So that's a good one for the bees. And just for a novelty thing, these are from Ohio Heirloom Seeds on eBay. Purchased from them before. These are Russian mammoth sunflowers. Now to this. This here is Korean evodia. And it's a tree. It's hard to believe that the seeds are, I'm used to something like an acorn or a chestnut. These are the seeds, supposedly. I bought seeds from two sources off of eBay. And I think Hertz did carry this plant, but they have it on back order. And I think you can pay now is the deal, and then they'll send it to you when they have it, when they have the plant mature enough to ship to you. But this is from Korea, and this is a tree that has white flowers on it and produces a lot of nectar for the bees at a time where there's, what do they call it, a dearth, I think, where there's really no nectar flow going on. So But it could be, it's on a watch list for considering to be an invasive plant species. And the reason they would consider it invasive is that it's considered a weak wood tree, and that it would have a tendency to break, causing damage to property, life and limb, no pun intended. So it's not that it would be spreading all over the place and crowding out the native species. I think from what I read, that's the reason that it would be considered invasive, is that it has very weak limbs, and it would break and cause secondary damage to infrastructure, taking down lines. I don't think it gets big enough to be able to go over power lines. It's maybe, I don't know, a 15-foot tree from what I've seen. There are a couple of videos on YouTube. You can see the bees absolutely going, honeybees going absolutely crazy over the flowers on this. So they're recommending here to soak this for 24 hours before planting, so I think I'll do that. The other packet that I have somewhere, the seeds are smaller than this, but I'll plant both of them. So that's Korean evodia, and I'll get back to you in 5 years on this, because I think that's when the plant will be old enough to start flowering. I don't know if there's a male and a female trees on this. One flowers, one I'm not certain, but you cannot find these plants anywhere. So the seeds are all over the place on eBay, on Amazon even. So I'll plant those. The other last thing I planted, or I bought last year, I did not show, I don't think, is this blue fruit for, it's got blueberries on it, white flowers in the spring, and blueberries for birds. And it's a more compact form than the natural one, I think. And it's Aster, it's not Aster, it's Arrowwood Viburnum. And it's deer resistant. Blue muffin, Arrowwood Viburnum. And it's doing real good in the lean-to. Take a look at it real quick. There's the flowers that you can get on it. It looks like something that the bees would go crazy for. Let's take a look at that real quick. Yeah, so there it is right here. It's really starting to take off. Need to get that outside. It survived here in the lean-to, but it says on the card here, USDA zone 3 to 8, hardy to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can see here, this is the space that I'll open up. Didn't have too great a germination rate here on these snow peas. Had a little bit of a tragedy. For some reason, I don't think I mentioned this before, but the windows that I had in here, it's like cellar windows, they broke. I think the space was too tight, so whatever expansion, contraction is going on in here. The first one here broke when I was putting the benches in. I was hammering, and I guess that somehow shattered the glass. After I put the bench in, I looked up and the window was broken. So I just put a piece of the polycarbonate in there for the wintertime, but I have the screen portion and the frame in, and for some reason I had the screws out, and it was just sitting in there, pressure fit, and it popped out and it landed on the black Madeira that had made the most progress here. Took off a lot. I'm glad I didn't break the first, the terminal bud here, but 2 leaves broke off. And then this here, I've been trying to get forever, Reliance. I killed one. Then I've got this one here. I do have one in the ground, I think. Broke this, so I scrambled. I got some glue, took a little twig, glued it there, but then I realized I had 2-part epoxy, so I mixed up some 2-part epoxy. The leaves are still, it got pretty warm in here. They're not wilting, so, but this broke right off and only had this one side here that was still attached. So hopefully that will heal. and will not lose this reliance seedless grape. Oh, and there's the African basil. I want to cut a couple of pieces off of this to root some in water. Well, I think the first thing I'll do is go ahead and soak these Korean evodia seeds. 300 of them. I'm like, 300? Might as well, because they get older every day that they're not. Who knows what the germination rate is, or what my success rate will be. I get these in some water. Some water in here. Now, if they float, doesn't that mean that they're not viable? So, that doesn't look good. So, we'll see. Soak these for 24 hours. I'll do a video as soon as, or if there's any germination on these. Just want to get some soil in these trays. Oop. So the catmint just is sowed 1/4 of an inch. I just put some soil on top. So I've got a whole tray here of catmint. The hyssop, I forgot, it's sow in place. It doesn't take good to transplanting, so I just have to broadcast those hyssop seeds wherever I want them to go. Let's see, Borage is an annual. So here's the hyssop. And it says right there, it says direct seed recommended in spring. Direct seed about 1/4 of an inch deep, 1 seed per inch, in rows 18 inches apart. Plant should eventually be given 6 to 12 inch spacing, so it's a large plant. Well, I planted some goldenrod here, just broadcast on the top and then lightly covered with some soil, but like the hyssop, I think the goldenrod is best sowed where you want it to grow, along with the aster. So I have to find a spot for those.